This happened about a year ago in January. I live in a mid-sized coastal city in Florida. The beach is only about a 6-minute drive from where I live now. Regardless of moving around town a few times over the years, I have lived here for the majority of my life. Went to elementary, middle, high school, and even to the local community college. Although we aren't a small city, you usually will run into someone you know or knew out in public. I was celebrating the 3rd year of finally living on my own. I had purchased a beautiful, modern-style townhouse in a great part of town, close to local shopping, grocery stores, and other neighborhoods. Now, of course, our city has some bad areas. Almost every city does. The bad area closest to me was about 5 miles northeast. I always pride myself on trying to stay fit. Years back, I would go to a gym. After a while though, I realized I'm more of an outdoorsy person and much rather jog outside in the fresh air than on some cold machine in a dark gym. My usual exercise routine would consist of taking about a 5-mile jog or run around the local neighborhoods, showering, then heading off for work. And it's always wonderful to get out early and breathe in the fresh air and take advantage of the cool breeze. Unfortunately, this specific week I had come down with one nasty cold. Coughing and hacking, I had to take the entire week off of work. Along with skipping out on work, I hadn't got any exercise the entire week either. My cold was at its worst Monday. I could barely get myself out of bed. Tuesday and Wednesday were pretty much the same. Thursday, I began to feel somewhat better. Friday came, and I woke up feeling a bit groggy, but as the day progressed and evening approached, I began feeling completely myself again. I knew I had skipped out the entire week of my exercises, and after a few gulps of my energy drink, I was off to burn off some steam for a few miles. It was about 8 p.m. and dark outside. Now, to set the scene, I live in a beautiful neighborhood with sidewalks that wrap around it, but it is only about 2 blocks long. A main road connects my neighborhood to other larger neighborhoods on the street that I jog around and through. I grabbed my phone, my sweat rag, gross I know, my headphones, and my bottle of water and set off. I had jogged a few times at night before with no problem. Why should this be any different? I go through my neighborhood and go out on the main road and begin heading for the next neighborhood down. I head down there and jog down each street of the neighborhood. At this point, I am getting a bit tired, and I knew that I had one more neighborhood down from this one if I wanted to hit my 5-mile run. I had to do it. I had to do at least one full exercise in for the week. So I jog back out to the main road and head for my final neighborhood. Now, this neighborhood is a bit different than the rest. The houses sit on larger properties, and they are larger and more expensive homes in general. Mostly old people lived in the neighborhood, and during the day when I would jog through, they are always friendly and wave. So, I am out on the main road, approaching the entrance of this final neighborhood, and I noticed a white van with only one headlight approaching behind me on the road. It slows down a bit as it passes by me, and I'm guessing whoever was inside was watching me jog into this neighborhood. The van slows down a bit more, and then speeds up and passes me, and continues down the road. I truly think nothing of it, and look down on my phone as I approach the first street to jog down. Shuffling through my music playlist and selecting one of my upbeat techno remix tracks to help keep me pumped up, I jogged down the first street with no problem. I did notice that I didn't see one person up or one light on inside any of the houses. This didn't surprise me, figuring the old people are probably already in bed and laughing at the thought. I get to the next street to go down and decided to stop and open my bottle of water for a sip. As I swig, I see a light of a car approaching me. One light. It can't be, I thought to myself. I resumed jogging slowly as the car caught up to me and slowly passed me. It was the van. It must have been the exact van that had passed by me earlier. I figured there must be some sort of coincidence. Maybe this person lived in the neighborhood. Although I was beginning to get a bit freaked out, I kept telling myself to finish the jog and to stay aware of all my surroundings. After the van passed, it made a turn once it got to the end of the road and was out of my sight. I decided maybe I should turn around and go back the way I came to be safe. So I did just that. I scurried through the entire street back and only had one left. I kept to my pace and turned the volume of my music off. I reached down to have another drink of my water when I stared down to the end of the road to see the same exact white van parked and turned off. So whoever that is must live down here, I thought to myself. And suddenly, the car jolted on and one headlight came on and the driver must have driven the gas pedal to the floor. The van pommeled toward me from the other end of the street. This wasn't a joke. This was for real, and at that very moment, I knew it. My life flashed before my eyes, and every feeling of terror, horror, and anguish flushed over my body. I would not be able to get to the exit of the neighborhood in time. Luckily, the houses I was passing by paralleled to the main road that would take me back to the safety of my town home. The van got closer and closer as I made a sprint into whoever's front yard it was. I was halfway through the front yard when the van stopped with a screeching, eerie, immediate stop. I dashed over the chain link fence as I heard the van door open and 2 heavy feet hit the asphalt. I dashed through the backyard, hopped the last chain link fence and onto the sidewalk of the main road. I heard the van start its engine again and speed off, no doubt headed back toward me. I am running faster than I ever have run before down this main road. I passed 3 old oak trees and then passed the last neighborhood before mine. The van has now returned and is gaining on me. I can hear the engine howling and getting louder and louder. I begin to hear a creepy old voice screaming, "I'm gonna get you, boy. Just you wait. Come here." At this point, I have tears streaming down my face as I ask myself, will I make it home? What will my family think when I disappear? All of these thoughts clouded my mind, along with tears clouding my eyes. As I turn the corner of the main road, I can see my neighborhood about a block away, and for a moment, the van was still yet to make the turn and couldn't see me. I sprinted and through my blurry eyes and hurrying, tripped on the side of the curb of the sidewalk. I fell and felt a pressure pop in my ankle. I felt numb for a moment, and then the pain hit me. I'd sprained my ankle. No time to cry now, I thought. I poured myself back into the hedges by the sidewalk and shoved myself into them as far back as I could. The twigs and sticks cut my skin, and I pushed back as far as possible not to be seen. I heard the van's engine flying close and then come to a screeching halt again. This time, the man pulled back the large door on the side of the van to get out. What I saw, I would never forget. The man hops out of the door on the side and leaves it open. He's holding a small bloody saw of some kind. Fresh blood dripped off it. Behind him in the van, there were multiple different types of knives and tools hung and organized. To me, it looked like bloodstains had been splattered around the walls of the van. The man was about 6'5" at least, brown short hair, with the evilest grinning smile I've ever seen. He didn't speak a word, but inspected the surrounding area vaguely, hopped back into the van, and took off, flying down the previous neighborhood right behind me. Once I heard him make the corner into the previous neighborhood again, I knew it was time to nut up or shut up. I crawled out of that bush and ran as fast as I could on a sprained ankle. Crying and sprinting, I made it into my neighborhood. One more block and I would be home safe. As I made it to the half point of the block, the white van comes flying through the corner and into my neighborhood. I had to make a move to buy myself more time to get inside. As I passed by the dumpster, I grabbed 2 of the largest recycling cans and threw them out in the middle of the road to block his path. I dashed for my townhouse only 20 feet away. The van hit both bins at full speed, pummeling one into my neighbor's SUV, smashing their windshield. I put the key in the door and turned it just as the van pulled in front of my building. I opened my door and threw myself inside and slammed it shut and deadbolted the lock. A few moments passed by before I began to hear beating on my front door and a low-pitched voice that shouted, "I'll be seeing you soon, boy." I lay on the other side of the door in my blood and tears, shaking and crying. After that, he left. The police were called immediately after the incident, not only by me, but my neighbours as well. A report was drawn up, but he was never found. I know I should have called the police first, but being in the mindset of it happening so quickly in front of your eyes, you don't have time to think so clearly. I have moved since. Let's just say I joined the gym again. But if you live near my city, beware of the man in the white van with only one headlight. It terrifies me to think what could have happened to me on that horrible night.